culture. The world is completely integrated, and to be in it fully and to, I think, create innovative things, to come up with new ideas, we have to also have that approach in the way that we're looking at education.
Once we understand the possibilities of arts as a transformative tool that allows you to engage in concepts or engage in a way of thinking while resonating or while grasping that information from a different viewpoint, it's not a dead activity, right? Whenever you have an idea, don't you...
Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of Café con Gas. Hello, I am Cassandra, also known as Gas. I will be your host for this evening. We had a really quick transition to the studio. For those of you who do not know, so what's above me? BeLive, Cambridge, I always mess this up. BeLive, Cambridge Community Television. So Cambridge Community Television is an open resources for Cambridge residents and also some non-Cambridge residents to use their First Amendment rights for free speech and create programming. You're allowed to say anything we want without doing anything that's, under the terms defamation. Gosh, I feel short today. Let's see if I can raise myself up a little bit. Anyways, so use your free speech. If you don't like what I'm saying, feel free to create another show, which is a tagline from the executive director and also my training video, which I really love. Recently, I've been watching some of the other programs on BeLive, and I'm really liking what I see. So please go check it out. Check out Channel 9. That's where I'm being played right now on the live feed if you caught it on my Facebook wall. If not, just come check out CCTV, get involved. There's also, besides me speaking on camera, there's a lot of resources and really excellent classes that you can enjoy. So I would encourage you guys to go look at the following. So, hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning maybe for some of you. It has been a really intense day for me. I actually, just a couple of minutes before walking into the studio, learned of a friend who has cancer, and that was really difficult for me to kind of process. So I've been kind of doing some of that and just thinking of, my life and thinking about some of the things that I want to tell you tonight, and just really thankful for my life and health. And in the spirit of emotional check-ins, I just want to really encourage everybody and remind everybody, take care of yourself, check in emotionally, check in physically, just do a little body scan, see how you feel, see what's going on. So we're going to go over to our emotional check-in as we usually do. So we're going to go over to that. Ooh, I have a little bit of a, there you go. So here's our emotional check-in. Here I am. Hi guys. All right. So, I actually don't want to be in this shot, so we're going to take me out. There we go. All right. So emotional check-in. We have all this wide space going on. We have a lot going on tonight. Oh, yeah. Let me take a deep breath in and out. And let's check in. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I just found out my friend has cancer, so I'm actually feeling pretty upset. This is really devastating news. In the wake of any type of illness, obviously, in the wake of illness, most times we're often confused as to what's going on. So I actually am really upset. I'm really upset because she's in her 40s, and I'm really upset because she's a mother of 5. And I'm also really upset because she has some language barriers. And I'm just praying and hoping that she thus far has gotten the, not only the care that she needed, but she's also, doesn't meet any language barriers. I'm feeling a little bit of this. Okay, so I'm also feeling hopeful. I'm slightly frustrated because it's Monday. Feeling a little bit of low energy. I don't know, you just have this whole, you have the holidays, it's really exciting, and then all of a sudden you just kind of hit this little lull, and nobody's as excited to go out with you, and you're not making these plans, you're not making potlucks. So the end of January, I'm looking to have a potluck with all my friends, so you guys stay tuned. Anyways, so let's see here. So I'm feeling happy. Well, like not as happy, but like content, I think is the better word, so maybe like a little bit of like, not as like excited and happy, but I'm feeling content. I'm feeling healthy. And let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's pretty much it. And I think the feeling that I wanted to add was compassionate. I feel really compassionate right now. And given this alarming news that I got, I think what I really also need to be is I really need to be compassionate towards myself. So that's kind of what's going on here. So, we're just rolling with punches. We're going on shows, CCTV, Café con Gas Live. I do have some noticias. I did wake up at around 7 o'clock this morning. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit in my rhythm of checking my newsbook feed in the morning before my coffee, which I think I should do after my coffee. I had a great story that I actually shared and I had recognized on air. Recently, I've been having a little bit of confusion telling friends stories. Oh, a friend told me this, a friend told me that. Really, I just picked it up off of my newsfeed. So we're trying to do little things there, like figure out. So this I picked up from my newsfeed. I saw, and I'll read this in Spanish, and I'm actually going to pull up the computer, and I'm just going to, bring a little map of Puerto Rico. So here's Puerto Rico right here. Actually, let's move that. Let's see how I feel about this. I like it here. Okay. So this is a map of Puerto Rico. So here's Puerto Rico, San Juan. And basically last night, and I'll read this in a little bit of Spanish. This was a report from Puerto Rico. So I'll read, una fuerte sismo se reportó a eso de las medianoche de la madrugada del lunes que se sintió en todo Puerto Rico y que se provocó pánico y desesperación en las puertorriqueñas a juzgar por los muertos y descuidados a las redes sociales. Essentially, there was a tremor. There was a lot of jokes. There's kind of a couple of jokes being told online, this being one of them. A joke right here saying, what are Puerto Ricans doing if they hear a tremor? And it was actually, in a perfect, in some scenarios, you would go beneath the desk, cubrarse debajo de una mesa, right? Or you would go to an area that's open or higher. So, and then it said, if you were in Puerto Rico, si estás en Puerto Rico, ignórelo antes, ignore the rest of the ones, mencionar el presidio a Facebook. So go right to Facebook and be like, oh my God, I felt a tremor. So that was really what was happening this morning. I was seeing a lot of like, in Guayanilla, I felt a tremor. In Mayagüez, I felt a tremor. So it was a little bit intense because honestly, I think of the Caribbean and I think of tremors and I think of Haiti. I think of natural disasters. I think of the Philippines that recently had their tsunami, and I think of my relatives and my loved ones. And I think, they were kind of making these jokes about like, oh my gosh, if you feel a tremor or whatever, go post on Facebook versus go underneath the desk. And I think there's a little bit of like misnomer there, but I also think that really speaks to the power of the Puerto Rican people. And I think it shouldn't be taken as lightly because Puerto Rico is one of the only places in the entire world that has been colonized over and over and over and over again. So really when something happens, we're like, what? Ahora qué? You know what I mean? We're fighters, we're luchadores, we're amazing, we're diverse. So that's just a little bit of kind of like what was going on here. And in that spirit, if you didn't catch last week's episode, I also kind of wanted to, hop and skip. So we're here talking about healing, arts, and diversity with our occasional guests on our show. So I'm really looking forward to greeting back Sandy Placido, who is a Dominican woman originally from the Bronx and also a Cambridge resident, who is writing a dissertation about the Puerto Rican people. And before that, I also wanted to say, in the name of healing, arts, and diversity. So healing, we did an emotional check-in. I might actually revisit some healing because I think I need a little bit of healing today. So we've done our emotional check-in. So now to arts and diversity. So one of the things about Puerto Rico that I think of often is that, it's an island. It's a racially diverse island, but there are a lot of Puerto Ricans, such as me, who are very light-skinned. So it kind of growing up was a little bit, it wasn't problematic, but what I would find is we do all these racial exercises and back in the 80s and 90s when you did like what is diversity, you would have like the Chinese person with the rice hat, and obviously it didn't look like my classmates. So I'm like, these exercises are kind of weird. I'm not white, I'm not yellow, I'm not brown, so what's going on? So in school, I always called myself Peach. But then through the ages, I noticed that a lot of the things I related to and a lot of the mentors that I have that spoke English and were in media were Oprah, Maya Angelou, Iyanla, really strong, big, amazing, powerful women. I don't be big by size, I'm in big by spirit and stature. Excuse me. So we're kind of having this conversation, and like my friend, you know, we are of like a same build, but you know, we're of different colors, but yet we're the same. So I wanted to bring up this video because I was trying to find a way in the name of healing arts and diversity, because spoken word poetry can be really healing when the message resonates with someone else. So in the name of all these healing, I wanted to bring up this really amazing video from this artist called La Bruja. La Bruja meaning witch, but that can mean on several different levels. She's a New Yorker slam poet. She's also got in Def Jam poetry. So I play in this video in solidarity. And solidarity is a term that was coined by, you know, the feminist movement. However, it's also camaraderie. I mean, I have drawn so much inspiration from the African American community, and I've also drawn a lot of inspiration of uncovering my own roots that are a little bit of John Smith and a little bit of Pocahontas, so I'm somewhere in between. So this artist, La Bruja, talks about how a lot of Puerto Ricans are kind of somewhere in between, and it's called, actually, I'm just gonna pull it up, it's called Am I Black Enough by La Bruja.
This one is I Too Am Black. Although you may find me fair, with medium brown eyes and not too curly hair, of mixed heritage, too many to name, one thing was the same, we've all shared despair. Believe it or not, in fact, I too am black. I have been stabbed in the back for being too much of this and not enough of that. Have been compared to what exists and been told how much I lack. You may not know it now, but it's a fact. I too am black. Black, like the ebony tree. The deeper you carve into me, you can easily see the beauty, the strength, shape me, shine me. In the finest homes you'll find me, while strange fruit still hangs inside me. With all the love I can muster, my face glows with luster. It'll take more than some slave trade to make us crack, but let me break it to you with truth and with tact. I am proud of the fact that I too am black. All right. Thank you.
So that was La Bruja with a poem, I Too Am Black, which for some of you, you may be looking at being like, hey, this is problematic. What do you mean that I too am black? But what many people don't know in general is that there are lots of mixing of cultures, and there's a lot of interplay, and there's a lot of musical exchange and the slave trade exchange and colonial exchange that have given Puerto Ricans kind of a mixed identity. So it's kind of this whole claiming, you know, like, I am here to hear me roar, but also that there's just not one way to kind of look at Puerto Rican identity. So I'm very much in Puerto Rico today because I'm not gonna lie, when I heard about, I got my label out again, which is funny because I used to wear this on the first episode, but it's a little Puerto Rican PR USA mix. But I also wanted to bring up, because, you know, you wake up, so I've grown up here, I live here, I work here, I live and work in Cambridge, and I'm thinking like, you know, this earthquake happens, what would happen tomorrow? Would I just jump on a plane and go volunteer? You know, it brings up a lot of issues because my parents came to the mainland for a reason, and I'm here for a reason. But it definitely brings this desperate sense of longing, and it brings up a lot of, if something were to happen to Puerto Rico tomorrow, would I still be Puerto Rican? So it's a little intense, and I think that's something that I just don't, when I talk about Puerto Rico, sometimes people think, oh, I gotta hook you up with this person who's really political, and for me, it's like, it's cultural, it's part of my identity. Why can't I say that I am of, you know, that I'm Puerto Rico USA and celebrate that? So part of the way that we like to celebrate that is with music, and I'm gonna bring another clip for you guys. And I talked about this last episode, but I'm not sure who was tuning in and what was going on, so I'm gonna play this again because I love Johnny Principe. And I didn't get to play the whole video last time that we did this show. So I wanted to play this so that everybody can kind of just, you know, tonight's episode, take a moment to check in with themselves and dance a little bit, because I absolutely love Johnny Principe. Johnny Principe is a great example of what's happening in Puerto Rico. And people ask, is salsa dead? It's not dead. He has a good fusion. And the fusion mixed the messages of, promover, Almanacer, to luchar. And I just really, really love this clip. And I'm going to bring this clip up for you guys. And we're going to dance a little bit. We're going to have some fun tonight. Because honestly, right before I played this clip, I was talking to a friend of mine in preparation from the show. Because we were watching CNN over our lunch break. We were at a place eating and CNN was playing in the background. And CNN's playing in the background. And one of the CNN reporters literally goes, "Is this study legit?" And I'm saying, is this legit? Have we become sensationalists? What's going on? I got to report some hard news tonight. So I'm reporting news, but in the name of being legit or whatever, I wanted to show you a video because I want people to dance. But I also think, this is a cultural piece, and I am reporting to you that besides the economic downturn, there's really good things happening. And I want to report to you that if, God forbid, something were to happen tomorrow, I still have this rhythm in my heart. So let's take it away to Johnny Principe, who, let me just say this right now. I've been doing episodes on October 28th. One day, I hope I have the resources to have, a ton of different camera angles, first of all, oh, now Johnny Principe, it's doom, 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 with a little fade in. But at the same time, I just have to say, because I reached to Amer Rahman when I did the video on reverse discrimination. But Johnny Principe, if you're out there, if you're listening, if somehow you know a cousin of a cousin of a cousin of mine, come on to the show. You got to check this out. It's great. So let's go ahead and play this clip. I hope you guys enjoy it. And to the people who are outside the BeLive studio kind of stopping by, I wanted to say hi. That's kind of nice. You're checking out my video. Let's go ahead. Let's just kind of shake it off, stretch it out, stretch to the side, and dance a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to cue Johnny Principe, which I love this song, and let it really just cleanse some of the stresses that you may have today. And I hope you enjoy listening to this with me. So I'm going to go ahead and just bring up Johnny Principe. Enjoy.
Pesadillas que me tormentaron y me hicieron mil heridas. Gracias a Dios he vuelto a vivir de nuevo. Gracias a Dios he vuelto yo a caminar. Quiero paz, mucha paz. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. Atiende lo que viene bajando. Yo tengo paz al amanecer. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. Quiero paz. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. Se cerraron las heridas muy profundas. Esta noche todo eso no me asusta. Hoy puedo dormir de nuevo porque yo quiero paz. Paz, mucha paz. Paz al amanecer. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. Óyelo. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. Paz para el mundo. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. Paz al amanecer, yo tengo paz al amanecer. saludito para los hermanitos del dolor, para los confinados, los hospitalizados y todos los hermanitos que están buscando la paz en este mundo. Ah, métela preso y expandirla por el mundo entero, porque queremos paz. Oye, se trepa así, mi pana. Quiero paz. Dios está donde tú lo dejaste la última vez, mi hermano. Deja la excusa, por más que te esconda. Un saludo a los muchachos y a las cucharas y a todos los confinados del mundo. Oye, no te olvides de practicar la hospitalidad, porque gracias a ellas muchos hospedaron ángeles. Ay, no te olvides del confinado como si tú fueras el confinado. Y no te olvides del desamparado como si tú fueras el desamparado, mi hermano. Ay, lo dice la palabra. Yo no, pero yo tengo paz. Ay, ni una bala más perdida, mi hermano. Paz para el mundo. De eso se trata en Juan 3:16. Por eso sangró mi pana. Mandó su único hijo, mi hermano. Ese es mi amigo, mi pana. Quiero paz. Mucha paz.
I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Let's see if there's, I haven't watched this through. Let's see. I think this is the end. Yes, okay. So he gives credits to everybody. As you can see, Paz al Almanacer, Manos Calientes, Johnny Principe fue en 2010. But this is really, really relevant. It's really, really beautiful. You can get the CD on CD Baby. Just look him up, see if you want to download it. Yeah, he does the lyrics and he does the melody. It's really powerful. It's really beautiful. So I love Johnny Principe. I just want to give it up for Johnny Principe. He talks about, there's a very popular saying, you know, that if si tú sigues con drogas, si sigues con addiction, if you go with drugs, if you go in addiction, whether your addiction is sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever, you're going to end up in three places. You're going to end up in the cárcel, in the jail, you're going to end up in the cementerio, in the, you know, or a deathbed, or in the hospital, in the hospital. So we'd rather not choose any. So after jail, he comes out with this CD, which is just completely powerful. And I just wanted to bring that up. So that's like really, really, really incredible work. Big fan of Johnny Principe. Again, I found out Johnny Principe, my late aunt from Puerto Rico, used to work in a prison, and these were some of her clientele, specifically Johnny Principe. So, you know, en nombre de Titi Carmín, bien hecho, en nombre de Johnny Principe, I hope to meet you one day so we can celebrate the legacy of my aunt. Let's go now. So I'm going to end up at a little bit, okay, so trigger alert, I'm going to end up at a topic that to some people may be traumatizing, to me brings me joy. This sounds really kind of interesting, but like, this is the reason why if you attend some type of group support or mutual setting, especially when it comes to if you're a survivor of some type of abuse, one of the things they will tell you, you know, you go to a therapist to work out the trauma, you get support from advocates therapy, but when it comes to group, you know, you're not supposed to give complete details, and this is therapeutic group work. You're not supposed to give details where you just say, you know, childhood abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. So we're gonna do something different. Healing arts and diversity now. So diversity, I'm gonna bring this up under the diversity element. So these are a group of men and women in Arizona. I'm gonna show this to you. I am so proud to bring you this clip. I wish I could show you the video, but the video is 14 minutes, and I would encourage you to go visit their website. However, let's go check this out. Okay, so this is actually, I'm gonna do a little flip. So we're gonna go to the computer. Here we go. And we're gonna bring, hold on one second. Nope. Nope. Okay. There we go. All right. So, excuse me, I'm having a little technical difficulties. I have been experimenting with the picture-in-picture. We're gonna go up here. Okay, awesome. All right, so BeLive, here we are. All right, so this is, I just want to applaud these men. I want to give them a café con like gold oro cup. We're gonna end the show on this remark, but I'm gonna just show you. I know we dealt with a lot of issues, but this is actually a great internet find. If you visit my blog, I do something called a desktop dump, and that's actually gonna be under there too. But this is an amazing, 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 amazing resource that I found. So I already see that I have about 2 minutes left in the show, so we're gonna kind of go through this a little bit quickly. It deserves a lot more attention. But this is a biker gang who helps protect victims of child abuse so they feel safe. So these tough bikers have a soft spot, aiding children abuse victims anytime, anywhere, for as long as the child needs to feel safe. These leather-clad guardians will stand tall and strong against the dark and the fear of those who seek to harm them. So this is an incredible image. Here is this really burlesque guy, and this is why I say diversity, because people who come to the aid of child abuse victims are advocates, professionals, compassionate, sometimes foster parents, lawyers, teachers, educator. But here's this big biker, and he's literally going down to this girl, and the top of the article actually says, "When rough men approached a little girl, I was scared. Then I realized what they were really doing." So this is a really, really, really powerful premise. And this is it. The girl chewing her lip was abused by a relative, according to police reports, someone she should have been able to trust. He's not in the state any longer, but the criminal case is progressing slowly, so he's not in jail either. So this is a really beautiful story, you know? And again, so some people, they're like, oh my God, you know, just even the introduction of a child being abused at first is just traumatic. And that's what I mean by traumatic to some. And for me, this is really a story of hope. But I also respect that people may be at other levels of readiness. And that's why I strongly and truly believe that, again, before we wrap up, but I truly believe, you know, find your place, do your emotional check-in, because it may not be there for you to be every single step. You know, we help each other in different ways. So we just got to find our mission and do it. So this is really great. Check out Bikers Against Child Abuse International. I just think they're such a, fantastic organization. And I think they just deserve a lot of attention and applause. And I think they just deserve applause. And I thank them for doing out their work. I'm going to do a little bit more on them. I'm going to do a little bit more research, bring this back to you, see whatever clips that we can find. Otherwise, I really appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight and joining me through some healing arts, diversity, emotional check-ins, and some great music. Have a great night.